This episode is brought to you by Prime Video. In the small town of Holland, Michigan, nothing is ever what it seems. Behind the tulip festivals and pretty houses lay dark secrets that threaten to tear a marriage apart. Nicole Kidman stars in this darkly twisted thriller about a wife and mother whose quest to uncover her husband's secrets may get her more than she bargained for. Holland. Watch it now on Prime Video.
I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does, without me lifting a finger. So I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Welcome, people, to a brand new episode of Don't Blame Me, which is a call-in, write-in, voice-in, advice-giving podcast starring two of the baddest bitches that you will ever encounter in your life. One of them was just stroking their titties. When are you ever?
I've been wearing them lately.
Why?
Because I found out that the compression socks I'm wearing are not compressing, and they're not, I need medical grade, and that's probably why they're not doing as much for me. And so everyone's like, you gotta wear compression garments, wear them in general. And so I thought a good compromise until I get someone's, maybe I should put a bra on.
Okay. Well,
feels compressive.
It feels restrictive, which, yeah. Okay. I understand your reasoning. It's by your heart. Makes sense.
Exactly. And it's literally, I have a bra right here that I just haven't put on.
Does it fit?
Yeah. I have so many different bra sizes because these titties have fluctuated over the years.
That's why I'm wondering.
I've got a couple that fit well and that are practical. That's even a smaller number. But I've got a couple. Okay. But I should maybe get another.
Okay. Well, enough with bra talk. Megan, how do people participate with this show?
Well, you can participate by calling us and leaving us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message. Email that to meghanpodcast@gmail.com. You can also write into that same email. We have a form that you can fill out, or you can DM us over on Instagram. But for the audio versions, keep it under 3 minutes. You can write everything down, practice, time it out, and then just read it out loud. You only get one try when it's on voicemail. We're not going to compile a couple of them together, just one. So practice a few times and then just read it. And then for the written versions, keep it under 300 words. And then for all of them, 18 or over, have your parents' permission. Please keep it all anonymous so you can come up with some fake names. On our other show, there's a big hit when someone... they melded the universe of Powerpuff Girls as well as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So just know that goes over incredibly well with our fan base. Don't pick that one again. I think it's a little too soon for that, but
use your imagination.
Mm-hmm. Or don't do it at all. If that's stressful to you, you really don't have to do it at all. But it either thought has to go into it if you're going to come up with the aliases like that, or no thoughts, just vibes. That's also very okay. But the thing we really need to know is your age. We need to know how old you are, not just that you're over 18, but it does determine the advice that we give because, you know, sometimes calls don't include like the life stage that you're in. It's not about like college, or it's not about like, I don't know, other random things, AARP, like things where it's like, okay, we know the age that that's typically associated with.
They're trying to move away from it though.
Who's they?
AARP.
They're trying to move away from old people, or
they're trying to be for everybody now.
The end of Social Security is coming to a close, and so they said, we're actually going to dib?
They're trying to just to be for everybody now.
What do I have to do with AARP right now?
I mean, it's like...
What is it?
Honestly, all I know
it had to do with Social Security
is that they provide things for people. It's like a club that you get discounts for. And I know that they're trying to move away because they have been pitching to podcasting, and they're like, doesn't matter the age.
Oh, okay. Well, I would urge them to maybe change their logline, because it does say AARP is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering Americans 50 and older.
But you don't have to be, because you can get a membership. It's open to anyone 18 or older.
Oh, okay. AARP is wanting, they've got lots of articles. They're furious about Trump. Girl, me too.
Glad somebody in a corporation is saying it.
Maybe they'll wear like a little pink shirt and like throw a little bingo sign that says "Boo."
Why pink?
It's the color of resistance, Melissa.
Okay.
How could you ask them to do more?
I mean, their actual color is his color, so.
Yeah, maybe they'll hop on the Democrats who are just like, let's color coordinate to show them that we don't like them.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Really showed them. Fucking hell. Well.
All right. Should we get into an update?
Yeah, I love an update.
So we're going to get into sort of an update. It is somebody that called in with the don't blame them, and then they had a comment about after we shared their don't blame them. So they're following up. So the original one was somebody had been blackout drunk and hooked up with their friend that they didn't actually like in that way. And we had mentioned that because they were blackout, then it wasn't actually consensual. And so then this RA wrote in with some advice, and now they're following up with what we initially said.
Hi, girls. This is the RA writing in again. I actually spit out my water listening to the episode because I fully did not recognize my own voice until like 30 seconds in. So glad that you guys thought my advice helped. This is quite literally what I was trained in, so I'm very glad, LOL. I also recommended y'all's pod to every RA friend on staff, including my boss. Hey, I know you're listening. My boss is a really big reason I take my job as an RA super seriously, too. My boss is an early 30s Black woman who consistently tells us that our job is not to be a cop nor a superhero, especially because we are struggling college students ourselves. Our job is to keep students safe and care about them. We have quote unquote fight club rules about what on our staff we take more seriously and what we chill out on. While we're lax on whether we actually smell something skunky or hear clanking bottles, she always demands we take essay the most seriously because we are often the one person that a student felt safe to open up to. And quote-unquote fuzzy boundary situations like this caller are unfortunately the most common combo we deal with because students are unlearning societal BS about sex and relationships. Anyways, I'm graduating this semester, but I'm an RA abroad this summer, so I feel like I gotta call in about that. XOXO, the RA. I didn't know you could be an RA abroad.
I didn't either, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I guess like some people, you do live in like dorm adjacent things. I guess I would have assumed that
you'd be home place where you were, they would be the RAs, but maybe there might be like a language barrier.
No, and that makes total sense why you would want that, or even just having like, you know, at least one RA, not necessarily like on every floor with, or every hall that has international exchange students, but at least having like one there for that. It's like you're like the little consulate.
I love it.
That's fun. Where are you going? Tell us about it. Can't wait to hear about it. Give us a call.
You said you were going to.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we will get into giving advice.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help you find options within your budget. Try it today at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states. There are many ways to entice a potential new customer with flashy branding and calculated marketing strategies. But at the end of the day, the success of a business comes down to the ability to close the sale. And for businesses like Thrive Cosmetics, Allbirds, or Skims, it's what goes on behind the scenes, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple that makes the difference. For them and for millions of businesses, that difference is made with Shopify. Businesses that want to grow, grow with Shopify. Because if your goal is growth, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And Shopify will make sure you're ready. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And with Shop Pay, they boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. It's no wonder Shopify is home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/realm.
Hey, what's up? It's Wanda Sykes. I'm here to remind you about something super important, getting your breast screened. Because trust me, your breast health should be a priority. Early detection for breast cancer can change the game, which is why you should visit yourattentionplease.com to learn more. And do me a favor, if you've already had a breast cancer screening, remind your friends and family to visit yourattentionplease.com too. We gotta look out for our girls.
We are back, and it's time to give some advice.
All right. Hello, wonderful women. I'm 19, she, her, looking for some advice on how to start cooking or meal planning or any tips on how you guys keep yourselves fed. This is my second year in university, and I really need to start eating proper meals. I don't eat out a lot, just a lot of snacking and a habit of binge eating. I find that I never have the motivation to cook. I do have some skills in the kitchen. I grew up cooking meals for my family from time to time, so not a complete beginner. I just never see the point in cooking a full meal for one person, and I'm not huge on leftovers, but I need to get over that. Also, my family owns a butcher shop, so I basically get all my meat for free, so no budget constraints on that end, and I need to take advantage of this more. Hell yeah, you do.
Oh my God, let us know. Do they ship?
Right.
Fucking hell.
So I would love to hear what you guys cook and any recipe recommendations or meal planning tips. Megan, what are you making in your Dutch oven? I have one too. Thanks, guys.
I'm sorry. You're 19, you have a Dutch oven, and you're in your second year of school. You're like already fucking crushing it.
And you get free meat.
Yeah. I'm jealous.
I'm very jealous. Meat is the most expensive thing, especially here's my thing that I go specifically to a butcher for, and that is beef bacon.
Ooh.
It's so good. Like just imagine just really thin strips of bacon.
Oh,
of beef. Yeah.
It's delicious. It's people who don't eat pork that can be an alternative as opposed to just turkey bacon.
Yep.
It's like I don't want to out anyone is eating something they're not supposed to. Okay. I would love to give you wonderful advice. I do think this is delightfully ambitious for 19.
I cooked a lot when I was 19.
But she doesn't really, like, it's a begrudging, like, ooh, like, I don't really want to do this.
But I think there's a way to make it fun.
Yeah. What do you think about the leftovers thing?
I do. When I cook, I do usually cook like a meal for the next day, whether I eat it for lunch or dinner. I do have it again. There are ways that you can repurpose it so it's not the exact same thing. Like if I have spaghetti one night, then I'll take like the sauce and the meat from that and put it on a sandwich. And then like that's a way to repurpose. Exactly. Repurpose the same thing where it's not the exact same thing. But I think you should start having dinner parties.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Me and my friends would do this in college all the time, is that everybody would have like a night where they would cook. And so that way that you're making usually like it's usually like 4 to 5 servings in a meal. And then everybody would cook. And especially if you're getting the meat for free, all they got to do is buy the vegetables. And then also my inspirations for meals usually come from me looking on TikTok or looking just at recipes online. Like just get on foodnetwork.com and scroll through and be like, oh, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. And you can maybe it's not something you don't like exactly, but you can do your own and it will inspire you to do your own interpretation of what the food is.
That's a good call. I think that now that we know that you have the meat hookup, because I would say that like Mott's is not big on leftovers. I'm a huge leftovers person. Like my whole life I've loved leftovers. So in general, I do think cooking one individual meal is hard, and meal planning is planning for leftovers. Like that is what meal planning is. Like you're making food to eat at different dates. So I think I don't want you to waste food, but I think like financially, meat is the thing that is the most expensive. So, you've got to hook up for that. But I think what as a leftover is I assume you have at least one exception to the rule of something that you already like as a leftover. What is that? And then break down to what category that is. And for Mott's, that's soup. He likes soup, that he can without a doubt do that. And in doing that, it opened up just a realm of other things. And once you start regularly eating the one thing you're cool with eating as a leftover, you just you start to kind of get better with eating leftovers. It just is something like that. But you don't want to spend a ton of time, because this happens to people all the time, who spend a ton of time meal prepping things and then I got the ick, I can't eat this the day after or whatever. But you can always have a recipe, quarter a recipe to make something much smaller. And I think good ways to do that where it's feeling manageable is cutting out steps. So whether that's a dinner party where you just make one thing and then everyone makes something else and then you swap and share. But also we will use a rotisserie chicken from Sprouts as the base of something. And so then it's oh, we only have to cook this or this or whatever. And that's really helpful. And I think I wish I should utilize TikTok more for recipes. It's usually just whatever comes across my feed. I don't search it as much. I used to be very big into Pinterest, and it wouldn't even be I want to make those because half the stuff on Pinterest looks fucking weird. But I'd find I would judge a book by its cover. I'd find food photography that I really liked, find the blog that came from, and then just it inspires you as you're looking at it because it will remind you of something else or whatever. And just looking at food that looks good makes you want to then find food that tastes good, that tastes as good as it looks. And I would say that I don't know. I don't want to assign you to being more like Mott's than me, but Mott's is he was not the, and you obviously cook more than him. He was not he had a roommate who was a really great cook. His parents cook and his godparents lived next door. And so they would he had never had to eat leftovers ever in his fucking life. And he didn't really need to learn how to cook. And for him, he has really loved the New York Times app. I'm not going to necessarily recommend the New York
Times for anything,
but finding a specific place where he doesn't look for recipes other places. He doesn't search something else and cross post or whatever. It's literally just that. It can be something as simple as getting a subscription to Bon Appetit magazine and cutting out the things that you like, getting a cookbook, but doing one thing where it all is in one place. It kind of puts you in a box that tastes good. It's giving you parameters because shit is endless. All of the recipes, all the things that you can make are endless. And I would say my love and enjoyment and desire to cook really came from watching Barefoot Contessa. She just makes it look pretty. And the food wasn't crazy. It was expensive, but simple. It wasn't fussy food. And that makes it look like you want to eat it again. So I think I haven't watched it yet. Can't wait to watch it. But I think that food eye candy just food is a creative aspect. Like it's creative. So like, I think it needs to be something that sparks that creativity for you. And it's also very okay to like have like 1 or 2 nights of creative cooking, especially when you're just starting out. And then like go to In-N-Out or like get takeout or like fat, like whatever. Like it doesn't like have to be everything.
Chicken tenders that are already like breaded and you just pop it in like the air fryer.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be like an all or nothing. And I think like in general, if you're cooking some of your own meals, like dinner, like not just like cereal or breakfast or whatever, if you're doing that at like 19 sophomore in college, like you're already like leaps and bounds ahead of other people like who are not doing that yet. So I would really start small so you don't burn yourself out. As for Dutch oven recipes, Allison Roman, who is the Leah Michelle of food, she has a fantastic shallot pasta. That's what I ate last night. So I've been pooping so much today. But that is a me problem. That one is like delicious. We love that. Matza's been making barbacoa. And we made like barbacoa tacos that way. Or something that I've found to like repurpose. Like I've gotten again, like a chicken from Sprouts and done like a chicken noodle soup. And then I don't add the pasta for like all of it. We'll do the pasta for like one night. And then the next night you could add like rice in there instead or something else to kind of like break it up. And then we'll use the second half of the chicken to make like a chicken pot pie. Like things that using like repurposing something like as simple as like the meat aspect, that can be what's like the leftover that you carry on. And then you just make smaller portions of a side or a vegetable. Like that's a lot easier. But I also think like sheet pan meals and like you have the Dutch oven, like one pot things. You don't have to make sides on sides on sides on sides. Mm-hmm. But that's a great way to do it. And then to help with the getting over the not enjoying leftovers, sauces, hot sauce, different kinds of sauce, all of that kind of stuff, I think greatly help break up the monotony. Like one night can be spicy, one night can be like a tangy sauce that you have with something. But I think this will be great. I think it will be. I just typed in on TikTok Dutch oven recipes and so many different things came up. I should do that. I'm looking at like a Dutch oven pot roast, a baked Tuscan chicken, pot pie, like Megan said. There's so much how to roast a chicken in there, braised short ribs, marry me chicken, orzo. There's so many. So I think just get on. And the thing with like, for me with TikTok, I have a tab saved where I just save a whole bunch of recipes. There's hundreds of recipes because I'm on like that side of TikTok where I'm getting all those recipes. There's hundreds of them. I probably will never get to them, but because I'm always saving them, I'm getting new recipes that pop up. So just you use your sources. They're all there. Yeah. And I think it's smart because I have a playlist too, keeping them in one spot. You can also, here's another, like if you don't like leftovers, but don't think of them, quote unquote, as leftovers, cook like something that has 4 servings, but freeze three of them and put them in the freezer. And then, you know, a week from now, where it doesn't seem like a leftover, you can thaw it out and cook it. So it could be like 1 week you are cooking every day of the week, but you're freezing most of it. So then in the future, you can just go to the freezer, pop it out, and it'll feel like a fresher meal because you didn't have it yesterday. Yeah, that's a good point. And I would like to see a PSA to everyone. I do need people to stop meal prepping rice. Yeah. It's not gross. It's quite literally dangerous. Like you can have it the next day, but anything after that. That's it. Yeah. Next day. But I literally saw someone do like a 7-day meal prep with rice. And I was like, wellness check. Like, this is a cry for help. Like, what is wrong? Like, no, you can't do that. Can't do that. Don't tell other people to do that either. Another good suggestion, chili. Chili is something that I think universally people talk about, like soup, gets better with like a little bit of time. Nothing soft, nothing that's like texture based. I would try and like dive in for leftovers. Mm-hmm. All right. Next one. Hi, M&M. I'm looking for some dating advice or suggestions for how to help my dating app profiles work better for me. The problem isn't a lack of matches or not finding people that interest me. I love this. The issue I'm running into is that every interaction on the apps goes one of 2 ways. I match with a man, we have a great conversation and get along really well, but there's zero sexual chemistry. Or I match with a man who matches my freak and we vibe sexually, but talking to them about anything else feels like a chore. I've been on and off of the apps for the past few years, but I haven't dated anyone too seriously because every person I talk to or go out with inevitably falls into one of these categories, and I get bored of not getting what I want or need from the relationships. New friends are great. Sex is great, but I'm at the point in my life where I want to date more seriously and find both with the same person ideally. Do y'all have any ideas on what I could try to find matches that give me the best of both worlds, or things I should/shouldn't have on my profiles that could help me attract the right folks for me? For additional context, I'm bi-queer, but only focusing on dating men for this particular advice request. Trust me, I am trying my damnedest to date anyone except a cis het man, but the queer dating world is a whole other beast entirely. Thank you. So this is specifically about the guys.
Mm-hmm. What app are you on? And then also, what do you have that you're looking for? Because if you are just saying, like, if you're just hooking up with somebody, what does it say? Like, are you looking for a serious relationship? Because I think if you have looking for a serious relationship, it will weed out those guys that you just have sexual chemistry with. And then you'll get more people that are also looking for something serious talking to you. Because if it's just like, you know, short term is, this isn't the exact thing, but like short term is fine, but I'm interested in long term. Don't do that.
Yeah. I have questions about like are we talking about sexual chemistry in like initial conversations on the app? Because like you're
not going to get that.
No. And you need to like, to be like super frank with you, this is about you dating men. Men will not view that as long-term partner vibes. It's not like that they won't categorize as that for you, but like they will be like, oh, this is not what they're interested in. Like it is, I do think in general, like a chemistry thing is something that like you should be attracted to someone and have like a flirtation there, but like you are separating good conversation from chemistry. And like, so what is the good conversation? Because to me, like having like a back and forth banter with someone is sexy. Like that is something that like I do enjoy. But if you're creating like a big divide between that and sexual chemistry, do you mean like in person? Because I think you need to give people the opportunity, because in general, coming on really like sexual heavy flirty is, you might be an anomaly in someone who's like really looking for that while also wanting a serious relationship to kind of start like that. That's like not in general what men are being told to do on a first date, or even like talking on dating apps. It's like really just like start talking dirty. Like girls love that. Like, so I think that like, I don't want to say that this might be like an issue of like expectation or what you're looking for, but this sexual chemistry and stuff is either that's a way of you saying I'm not attracted to these guys, like I don't think they're hot, or it's like unless you've met in person and there is no chemistry there because you also don't find them attractive. But if you find them attractive and there is no chemistry, have you done it? Like, have you kissed? Like, have we gotten to the point where the chemistry is actually like it's happening? It's not just like thinking about what it would be like, because these are two very different ways that these go. Like these are polar opposite ways. And one of them reads, I'm looking for a relationship, and the other one does not. And that's not like a matter of like, you can be a fucking horny freak and want to be in a relationship and be in a relationship. That's totally fine. You are talking to men. And along with Melissa said about like what you're categorizing yourself and your profile under, I think you do need to recognize that like, if it's not the point where you're telling someone what you are looking for, people will put things together. They will assume if you're just like talking dirty, you're trying, it's a one night, you want to hook up tonight. It's like you up, like I'm in a new city, but people will assume that, not the latter. So I don't want to say that like they're not putting you in these boxes. I also do think you're putting yourself in these boxes, because neither of these things, they don't have to be separate. Right. Like great like conversation and sexual chemistry, unless you're talking about people you think are ugly, which I would like to normalize. You guys, you're allowed to write in and say that this person is ugly, like that I'm trying to date. Like that's okay. You don't have. I don't want to dance around it.
Ugly people.
Yeah.
But also, some people don't, and also being ugly is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's also hard to say without seeing your profile too, because like, what kind of pictures do you have up? What are you saying in your prompts? I need more information.
Yeah. And when you say, I match with a man who matches my freak, to me, that sounds like you are instigating this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are instigating it and it's not being reciprocated, but you're saying we have great conversation, whatever, but like the sexual chemistry is not there. I need to know what that, like, what does that mean? Because for me, sexual chemistry is like, oh, we kissed and I was like, nope, that's not, we don't have that there. That's, or even something as simple as like, I don't want to see you naked. Like, but you have to give someone.
Like, if it's just like you look at them and you're like, nah, which is fine. Like, there's one thing, like you look at somebody and you're like, that person's ugly to me, I don't want to fuck them. But like, you know, if somebody looks fine and then you go get to know them, the sexual chemistry can be increased dramatically. So I think maybe like if somebody's in like the fine category and not fine category, hear them out. Like, just because, you know, we're all a little shallow, but just because somebody doesn't like immediately look like they're your type, but you seem to match in other places, maybe just go out with them and like they might match your freak. But let's also like maybe don't find out how freaky we are on the first date.
Yeah, that's actually not matching your freak. That is a freak. That is a freak. That's too much. And so I think that like,
get to know the guys.
Yeah, like I really don't want us to like normalize men just and encourage men who just like say like really nasty shit like the first opening, like very early opening lines. But I also wonder, like, how do you start these conversations? Like, are you flip-flopping between these two versions of,
you're like, that person's really hot, so I'm gonna be a little freakier? Or
everyone's got a little freak, but like you give them, you have to have the opportunity for that. And if someone is showing you like their dirty nasty little freak immediately, just know that dirty little nasty freak is not so little. It is so like, that's just the surface. But I also wonder if you need to get off the apps quicker, or it's like going on a date quicker.
Yeah.
And in general, like I find like banter conversation, that's very like sexy, but
also typing banter conversation. Now in the days of AI, it's a little easier for people to be a little more flirty with you, because even in like Hinge has it where it's like, would you like to improve this? Like, they're using AI.
Yikes.
So like, just because somebody seems sparkly on their profile doesn't mean that they're going to be sparkly in real life. So getting off the apps sooner, like, you know, we want you to be safe, of course. Like, if you feel like, let's have a FaceTime if you're comfortable with that, or like, you know, let's go out somewhere where there's a lot of people. It's broad daylight and you're
not a hike.
Yeah, not a hike, not a movie, because you're not having a conversation in a movie. Definitely do not have them come pick you up.
No.
Go
I wish Lily was listening to this. This is all the fucking lectures I give her all the time.
Yeah. But go somewhere public, very bright, where there's a lot of people around, and, you know, actually have a conversation with them.
Yeah. But in general, I am fundamentally against men being like straight men being overtly sexual on the apps. And especially if your profile says you're looking for like a long-term relationship, it's just these men go, oh, this is what girls want, I'm going to start doing this all the time now. And that's not your responsibility. But I do think that the people who are really getting real freaky with you in your messages early on, I promise you they're unsolicited doing that to other people. And someone can be incredibly respectful to you and then call you a dirty little slut in the sheets. You gotta give them the opportunities too. Especially like, I also think like digital footprint, like someone's like sending me real nasty messages like super early, like right after we've matched. I'm like, are you just not worried about, like, not that I'm going to screenshot, like I could screenshot, but like, it's just, you don't even know me. I could be anybody. It's a big game usually. Why do you want to date men?
I think they're doing fine with women. That's how I got it. Is that they're doing fine with women? I thought they were
like, I really want to make it work with men, and I'm like, well, yeah, the problem is men, dude. Like, what the fuck? Yeah,
you don't actually want them for their. It might be you just want to fuck men. That could literally be it. That you just want to fuck men and not have anything else to do with them. And Coco, let us know.
Yeah,
if we are doing too much.
Yeah, we are two straight girls, so I do want to say this, but I will. We obviously don't know why you're talking about like wanting to like date men right now, but
here's something for consideration.
Yeah. if the emotional, if it's just sexual, like maybe that's what you're interested in right now. If you're having a hard time forming like an emotional attachment to a man, relatable, like, and maybe that's not what we should be holding out for, like putting all of that on.
Maybe you just want to fuck men.
Yeah.
And that's all. You just want them for their body, and that's it. And you get your emotional and also physical support from women as well, or whoever.
Yeah, but I think in general, if you're finding it like this is incredibly hard to date,
to connect with a man on a
then I think like I know dating is hard, but like dating is hard because like you fall for people, it doesn't work out, like it is an ebb and flow. If you're just finding like I'm just not interested, like I'm over again and again and again, I think that you're worthy of having a conversation with yourself or like reflecting on like why that is, what's that tied to.
Yeah, I might just either want to be friends with men, and that's why I'm not sexually attracted to them, or I am attracted to them, but I don't want to have an emotional connection to the ones that I am attracted to.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
But we just, maybe take some time to figure that out.
And it doesn't always have to be the end all be all of like, in this moment, I decide I want to be with a man. And it's like, if there is no man that you want to be, like valuing that above everything else isn't necessarily, I don't think it doesn't mean nothing. I think you need to look into that because men are a lot. And you should enjoy them,
All right, we're going to take a break now. When we get back, we'll get into some more.
You've maxed out your 401k, you're contributing to an IRA, and making some other investments. You're ahead of the game and doing well. But where do you go from here? The same old story can only get you so far. If you want a new take from a new type of financial professional, we invite you to get a fresh perspective beside an agent with the backing of New York Life. Insurance, investments, retirement, and more. Visit NYL.com to learn more. Investments are offered through registered representatives of NYLife Securities, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC, a New York Life company.
Can you feel it in the air? That sudden shift of mood? It's the perfect time to shed the winter blues and experience the revitalizing qualities of driving a Lincoln. It starts with the Lincoln Spring Sales Event. So step outside and visit your local Lincoln retailer or Lincoln.com for some seriously mood-enhancing offers on current and past Lincoln models. Your transformation awaits. Learn more at Lincoln.com.
Faraday presenta Ojos con Alergia y Picazón contra el jardinero. Y el ganador es Faraday Extra Fuerte. Para aliviar la picazón de los ojos por alergia, actúa más rápido y supera a Claritin y Flonase aún a las 24 horas. Faraday, adelante.
We are back and it's time for the next.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I'd like to give a trigger warning for sexual assault in this message. I, 27, they, them, live with my spouse, 28, they, them, and 3 pets. When we adopted our dog, 3, he, him, thank you for that info, last year, our circumstances were very different than now. We both had hybrid working arrangements, so someone was always home with the dog. My partner got laid off from their job 6 months ago due to some stupid bullshit that I won't get into. They had an old job on hold they've gone back to, but it's shift work and they can't work from home. Our dog care situation has become tenuous because my work has gotten less flexible about work from home due to some other stupid bullshit. This is where Jane comes in. Jane is our neighbor and a distant family friend. She loves dogs and has said she's keen to look after ours whenever we need. The problem is that Jane is a heinous bitch.
That is a problem.
When she came over to meet the dog, she was in our house for all of 20 minutes before dropping some casual racism. Ooh. I also learned from our relatives that she stealthed her husband by poking holes in their condoms because she wanted a 4th child. Like I said, heinous. I'm not comfortable having a racist sex offender in my house. It's also less important, but she's an I like dogs more than people person, and that's just the cherry on top. I want advice on how to proceed. Finding consistent care for my dog has been one of my biggest stressors. While I believe in taking free labor from pieces of shit, I also don't want to maintain an amicable relationship with one. Any advice is welcome. I'm very sensitive, so be gentle, please.
Jane does sound like a heinous bitch. This is hard because I also do fundamentally agree with squeezing horrible people for all their worth. Mm-hmm. I have said, I've been on record saying I will take horrible people's money.
But that doesn't mean that I will support them directly.
No, but like, at a certain point you do draw a line, and that is your own peace and your own sanity. And this is impeding on your peace and your sanity. So I think that like, I obviously don't want to put this on you because you're the one who is going to work, but I was going to say like dog friendly office vibes, not in the sense that like, oh, you should bring your dog to work, but like I swear to God, if our neighbors, they've had like a dog, they have a dog walker, and sometimes if the dog walker, like scheduling wise or whatever, I work from home, and so I will go let the dog out and like, to pee or whatever, especially if they have like a long day and the walker's already come for the afternoon. But if they I guarantee you, like, if they asked Mots to, like, oh, could you, like, he would be like, can I bring the dog to my work? Like, can I bring the dog to my office? Like, if you have, like, friends who, like, love a dog, even if they don't work from home, you don't have to have dog care set up in, like, it obviously is, a little bit more of a hassle, but it doesn't have to be, like, 5 days a week or this many days, whatever. It goes to the same person every single time. Like, you can have, like, a friend who helps you out 1 day a week, and then you figure out something else one day or whatever. It can kind of be a collection of sorts in that way. But I think if it's a financial thing and like you would not be able to afford dog care if it is not free, then I think whose family is Jane a family friend of? I think if Jane was like, torturous, one of the, like a biter, like, those kids who just like bit you or hit you.
Can't say I relate to that.
Are you kidding?
No.
Oh my God. We had a family friend who me and Melisa, we're sisters now, but like we grew up together, very close. Mm-hmm. Some people closer than others. But we had another family. I almost did another hand gesture. Didn't do that one. We had another family friend who, like, we like would still talk about as adults of being like, we would play rock, paper, scissors. And when we would get out, she'd like slap us across the face. And we'd be like, what the fuck? I think she was like even a year younger than us, but she was like a big kid. So like it hurt. And like she was just like kind of like a terror. And like, I'm sure she grew out of that. And also like not her fault. She was very little, but like we did not necessarily enjoy that. So I was going to say, I do fundamentally usually believe whoever's family, and I think family friends are adjacent to family, whoever is that initial connection, it is their that relationship is their responsibility. But I think if this, as a kid, if Jane was like a biter or a hitter, then I think you have to protect your partner. And then you are the in-between, not them. If you like have to utilize their free labor to watch the dog, because I am not I like dogs more than people kind of person. I do like your dog more than Jane. Mm-hmm. So I think in this instance, if there is no way that this dog, if like she treats the animal well and like there's no way that you're going to be able to have food on the table and
hire somebody.
Yeah. Then I think you keep AirPods in and you just wear your hair down so they can't see them. And then you just like smile and nod. Or it's like a drop off.
Yeah.
Like a very quick thing.
Mm-hmm. Have a computer. You're talking to somebody on the phone. Yeah.
Yeah. David Dobrik pulled that on me once. And then his phone rang. And I said,
make sure you're on Do Not Disturb.
But what do you think about any alternatives of not using Jane?
I like the idea of like seeing if there's other friends that have a pet friendly office. I don't know if there's any apps where you are that you can do it where somebody will come and let your dog out. And I know that's also, a safety hazard because they're going to have a code to your house to get in or a key to your house. There's also, what else could you do? Maybe there's a kid in the neighborhood that like, will work for kid rates. I'm like, I don't want to say things that are going to, be pain below like a minimum wage or whatever, but maybe there's a kid in the neighborhood that, their parents won't allow them to have a full-time pet, but they love animals and they can watch your dog until like they get out of school earlier than you get off work, and they can come let them out and take them for a walk and then put them back. Make friends with people in your neighborhood.
Yeah, besides this neighbor.
Yeah, besides this neighbor, if you have people in your neighborhood.
Yeah, even if you have people in your neighborhood who have like dogs, like we are like, quite literally, I think we are the only people who don't have a dog. And like all of our neighbors are like, when are you guys getting a dog? So like, I know that if we got a dog, I know who like works from home, who walks their own dogs. I know who uses a dog walker. And like, it could even be something along the lines of like, I don't know what your dog's needs are, like how much they need to be like let out, but it can be something as if they need attention the whole day, someone needs to be in the house with them at all times versus having a dog walker come and then having like a neighbor come let them out again before you get home, like doing that, like those aspects of it, especially because you said your partner is mostly doing shift work, which is
unpredictable.
Yeah. I think that financially deciding to do something that's like a longer term, more expensive commitment might not be necessary. Like it might just be like, oh, this thing has shifted. Oh, and then this thing has shifted.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I also want to say, I think Jane might like dogs more than people because I think dogs might like Jane more than people like Jane.
True.
And sometimes those people make great animal carers.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, I wouldn't want to hang out with you, but like I trust my animals with you 100% because I actually do think if the house was burning down, I think you would grab the dog and step on me on the way out.
Uh-huh. And that's fine.
In this case, it works for us both.
Yes, you use them for what they have available.
Yeah, you just don't have them for your human emergency contact.
Yeah. All right. Next one.
I started seeing a guy, 36, in January that I really liked. We had super incredible chemistry and banter. We had 3 dates that went really well, and then we were planning our 4th when things started to shift. He started responding more slowly / sporadically, and when I tried to confirm our 4th date over the span of a month, he left me on red. I stopped texting him 2 weeks ago, but I still feel like there was something strong there. Should I text him? He's the first neurodivergent person I've dated who I actually related to from that standpoint. I'm neurodivergent. I just wanted to say again for everybody, they are not related. They are not related. Me, Libra Sun, Scorpio Moon, and him. Oh, Scorpio Moon, Sun, Moon and Rising, and him Pisces. Ooh, March Pisces. Ooh, yikes.
Also, the writer is 30. She, her.
Oh, you're right. 30, she, her. My bad. I think you're being very generous with like this could be his neurodivergent. Like it totally could, but
it also might have just run its course.
Yeah. And I will say that like, as someone who like, I am like I don't know what neurodivergence he is, but if it's ADHD, I have been told by many a psychiatrist, I have a textbook male ADHD. I am not the kinds of the young girls who are like, oh my God, no one knew I was gifted. I'm like, everybody knew I was not gifted. I had all the textbook symptoms. I would say that like the thing with that aspect of if it's that side of ADHD, if it's that side of neurodivergence, we love shiny new. The people who you are more likely to kind of like let see your shortcomings, quote unquote, like the things that you don't necessarily maybe like love or traits that aren't categorized typically as like positive ones of neurodivergence. Those usually go to the people who you trust and you know the most, who you can kind of like slack off with. And then the people that you're trying to either foster a relationship with or it's new and exciting, that tends to get all of the focus. But that's just me. So I think like, sure, that could be the reason. I think that like 4th date, like we should, this shouldn't have been a long time to try and even get a 4th. Like you've already done 3 others. Like this should be like, I'll see you day after tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Like it should be kind of quick because I think after 4th date is you get to the dating stage. Like that to me is like a big shift. So I think breaking off before that is stopping before you actually start dating.
Right. So, if you want to just make sure that you're covering your bases, reach out to him, just say, hey, see what he says back, and don't push it more. If it's not like a reciprocal, we're going to keep, moving this headfirst into the next steps, then that's it. And it does feels special because this is the first person that you've connected to on that level, but that doesn't mean this is the only person that you'll be able to connect to on that level.
Yeah. And also, and I don't want this to sound bad or whatever, but like you could also have connected to him on that level and then realize like, oh, I like no two neurodivergents are the same. And like there are some people who there are some people who are neurodivergent I really mesh with, and other ones it's like we're the exact opposite. And it's hard. It's harder to communicate. It's like we're not speaking our own language. There's all of those aspects there. So like, and 3 dates in, maybe that, but like just remember, like it wasn't necessarily like, oh, this is this thing we share, so we're similar in this way. It can just be like an umbrella that you share, but like you don't share the same aspects and the same branches of that umbrella. But I also think like, yes, you could reach out. I think what you're going to get when you reach out is either no response or the reason why there's no response. And I don't think the reason why there's no response is like, oh my God, I totally forgot, would love to go out with you again. It's going to be like, I rekindled something with an ex, or I started dating someone. Like if he hasn't reached back out to me, it's still like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like you're not going to pick up exactly where you left off. But I do think you'll snip it off on your end. And if you are not...
You're trying not to say closure.
Mm-hmm. If you're not ready for that part and you want to keep the door open, I think if you don't say anything and like 6 months from now, after you've been dating, like he might just like pop back into your life. But I don't know that you're going to... I don't think a step's moving forward at this point.
I was thinking it in the way of getting closure as well without saying that. But in this case, sometimes you need closure just to close the door, not to like closure as in the sense of like, let's see
where it
goes. This is more like I need
permission to move on.
And not even permission, but like, I guess permission for your own heart. Yes. Yeah. To move on.
Especially if you're a one-track mind kind of person where it's like, well, I need to know if this is still a thing because I don't want to like,
mess up something if it's good, but like it might already be messed up. And that's fine. Like it literally is so fine.
Unless someone travels internationally, there is fundamentally no reason why after you've had 3 dates, it should take you a month, 2 weeks to plan a fourth date. Because I assume you're in the same, like you've been going out. And if it's like, oh, but we've been going out like random dates over the course of 6 months, that man has a family.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Usually if a man, I like don't love like things that men say to you in general. And if they don't say something to you, think about all of the horrible things they do say. They're withholding what they're saying. Suspicious.
Yeah.
Nefarious. Not all of them. But I don't know this man, and I love to judge a man I've never met.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll get into Don't Blame Them.
Canva presents The Killer of Productivity. It was an ordinary workday until...
Oh no, this meeting. It could have been an email.
Run. Canva had a creative solve.
Forget email. I'll just put the info the team needs in a Canva doc, and I'll make it visual with images, charts, and graphics.
Bring productivity killers to justice with creativity. Love your work at canva.com.
Empower. Claire is practicing her breathing for her upcoming yoga retreat in Bali. Has she ever done yoga before? No. But Claire worked with Empower on her savings and investment strategy. She got good at money, so she can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Join our 19 million customers today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risk. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisor Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Om Namaste.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's tax season, and we're all a bit tired of numbers. But here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now here's a good number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
We're back. It's time for Don't Blame Them. What is Don't Blame Them? Don't Blame Them is where a listener will call in or write in with their own advice pertaining to a call that we had on a previous episode. So they might have personal advice. They might have professional advice. They might have experience through a friend of a friend of a friend, or they might just be like, oh my God, this reminds me of this other thing. Let me tell you about it. So what do we got?
So this week is a follow-up to the episode we had with Jerome Milligan, where somebody had called in and they had been with someone that was a very delicate lover and really didn't complete the loving part of that because they couldn't. And the caller just wanted to get railed by their cheating ex. And so this is somebody calling in with advice pertaining to that.
Hi, I'm calling in for a Don't Blame Them. So this is for the most recent episode about the girl who wants to get railed. So I 35 is a little late, but I think if he can redeem himself the second time, I know for me, my now husband, the first time we went to hook up, he was kind of, I wasn't just for the streets, I was the streets, and he had only really been in very serious relationships, but there wasn't like a lot of sex going on in those. And so he definitely had low performance anxiety. And I remember telling him like, hey, I like you enough where this part, like, I'm not just with you for this part. I'm with you because I really like you. Anyway, he ended up really just coming out of his shell knowing that piece of information, I guess. But I think she never said if she was exclusive with this guy. This might be a little hoish, but she could always just like hook up with her ex and then get that out of her system, hook up with this guy. I don't know if that's maybe like what we should be advising, but it's a possibility. And then she could hook up with this guy, and maybe the first time, the second time you have sex, you let it be like a little vanilla. After that time, if it is successful, you say, hey, just so you know, I'm a little bit of a freak, and I want you to rail the shit out of me. So that's just my advice as somebody who is now married with kids to the person that I had that experience with. And yeah, I hope it really works out for her. She really sounds like she needs to get railed. So I really hope that for you, caller. All right. Bye.
Yeah, that bitch was horny.
I love the energy from moms who are formerly from the street.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
not from the streets.
No,
they
was
were
the
street. Yeah.
Los Angeles Boulevard is like, she's the boulevard, she is the avenues. Like I and like, when you meet them, you're like, I love that energy. And is it a good advice? Is it sound advice to tell someone to fuck their ex when they're dating someone else? This person has a great question. Are they exclusive? That's a really great question.
They're not in a committed relationship, so therefore it's not cheating.
Yeah. Would I do it? 100%.
I said, but I have.
Yeah, I was going to say, by the way, we have like,
yeah, I forgot.
No, I literally used to, like, the second I had to have go on a date with someone that I liked, I would go, now's the time for me to go through every person I've had now that I'm dating again, let me go through every person I've ever wanted to date or potentially date or had dated at some point, and let me just make sure that I'm not okay, now, cool.
Yeah. The thing is, I have very good memory, but for some reason when it... I
was about to say, not in this category.
That's what I was about to say.
Okay.
Let me finish. For some reason when it comes to men, I forget. Because my heart wasn't into it. I wasn't thinking with my heart.
You're thinking with the wrong one.
I was thinking with the wrong pulsating organ.
Yeah. The wrong aortic.
Yeah. But I wouldn't even say wrong. It was just like, that's who they were to fulfill at that moment. And whatever. People who I actually loved, I do remember them.
Totally. Yeah. She doesn't have sex amnesia.
Yeah.
It's just, sometimes you forget, Yeah. I've been there. I have. It's fine.
And I do, once my memory is jogged, I do remember.
Yeah. Sometimes you want to forget sometimes. And you go, ooh, pretend that never happened. I go, if I couldn't remember for years, therefore, It doesn't count now that I do know.
Mm-hmm.
No. I really hope that person calls back and writes back in.
Please.
And if I sense, if they call and I'll be able to be here in the instant if you've gotten railed yet.
Mm-hmm.
That sexual frustration pent up.
Right. That thirst is quenched and you're no longer dehydrated.
Or you'll come in with the energy of the fucking Kool-Aid.
Right. Because I could feel that energy in that original call.
No, it's like, it's to a point where I do think you're busting down the doors and suddenly the Kool-Aid man is here in the Hawaiian shirt and you're just like, ah!
Oh, yeah. So before we end this episode, we're going to read some comments from Spotify. Thank you guys so much. If you don't know, you can leave episode-specific reviews or comments on Spotify, and we will read them when we remember to do so on air. All right, so this is from the episode with Jerron Milligan from I Need to Get Real, the episode that we were just highlighting. Anna Androis said, such a fun episode. Tess said, OMG, a guess.
Yep. And it was a good one. I laughed so hard.
We literally, if you missed it, we did record for 3.5 hours and we had a good time. And we didn't even, I knew it was 3.5 because I kept trying to get us back on track, but we kept derailing. But it was so much fun. I also went to his show this weekend. It was great. Josie said, in high school, my brother and his friends spray painted 415 Fizz in the bay on his bedroom ceiling. Needless to say, our mom was not pleased, but honestly, legendary.
I am addicted to that because, not to out, Josie's from the same area that I'm from, and like that is so that specific kind of boy who's doing this.
And then Sydney, spelled Sydni. I've never seen it spelled that way, but I like it. Said the fizzle. It's fizzle. The fizzle dance is sending me. I have never heard of such a thing, and I'm a native New Yorker.
Oh no! It's when you say when you're like fit, and I was like, no, fizz with a T. Like that makes me feel even more crazy. Yeah, it is a fizzle dance. Everybody, TH, Mac Dre, R.I.P. Can you do the fizz? I was gonna make a TikTok of it.
It's not too late.
I'm going to. It's on my to-do list.
Make sure you tag the pod.
I will. I could tag Mecca too.
So now we're at the end of the episode. Megan, take it away.
That is it. We hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget, you can join our Patreon. You can watch the video versions of the podcast. You can also just watch ad-free, support the show, and we do live streams twice a month. They're very fun. Great place to meet new people. Everybody has become friends. People visit each other. They go see each other across the globe. It's wonderful. And very, very, very rarely, like, I can't even think of, like, not, like, it's happened probably, like, count on one hand how many times it's happened that there will be nobody new in it. So you will not be the first or only new person. It's not like coming to, like, a school in the middle of the year. Don't worry. We're very good at explaining backstories.
I did that a lot.
Yeah, you did. That's why you're very, I hate the word resilient because I don't think it's fun for most people because you go, what the fuck else was I supposed to do?
Right.
But you have that. Everyone who moves around a lot has that. Like energy, and the energy is everybody wants to be your friend. You don't always want to be everybody else.
Exactly.
And yeah, get our merch and
new spring colors coming soon.
Okay, good. I thought you were gonna say out now, and I was like, shut the fuck up.
No.
Follow our socials. Are getting back posting on there, and don't forget to respond to the form or write in, call in for an upcoming episode.
Thank you so much to everyone who's giving me so much excellent feedback for the posts that I've made, because you're all terrified, and that just warms my heart so much. The posts I'm talking about are the ones where I'm asking people to fill out the form. Really, really makes me happy inside.
Yeah, it's rage marketing. Consumer outrage marketing.
Thank you so much again for listening to this episode. Join us tomorrow for Fisting Friday. That is an episode where we just catch up with each other, talk and talk. There's no outline. There's no segment. It's just us talking. And we're funny, so it's entertaining. Monday, we've got But Am I Wrong? That's our show where sometimes people don't take our advice, or they've done some things and they're like, ooh, I might have been wrong in that situation. And we give our thoughts and feelings. We also share situations in our lives where we might have been wrong or things we just want to rant about. And then we nominate somebody in the world who we think is the wrong of the week. Tuesdays, we have See You Next Tuesday. That's where we take the votes out to the people, you guys, on Instagram, and you share your thoughts and feelings from But Am I Wrong? Wednesday, that's your day to catch up. Fill in the blanks. Do whatever you need to do to help us help you grow. And then on Thursday, we're back here for Don't Blame Me.
Love it. Perfect. Wonderful. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye. This is a Sister Sign production hosted by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Hello, I am Kristen Russo.
And I am Jenny Owen Youngs.
We are the hosts of Buffering the Vampire Slayer once more with Spoilers, a rewatch podcast covering all 144 episodes of, you guessed it, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
We are here to humbly invite you to join us for our 5th Buffy prom, which, if you can believe it, we are hosting at the actual Sunnydale High School. That's right. On April 4th and 5th, we will be descending upon the campus of Torrance High School, which was the filming location for Buffy's Sunnydale High, to dance the night away to 90s music in the iconic courtyard, to sip on punch right next to the Sunnydale High fountain, and to nerd out together in our prom best inside of the set of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
All information and tickets can be found at bufferingcast.com/prom. Come join us.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
Have you ever heard about the 19th century French actress with so many lovers that they formed a lovers' union? Or what about the Aboriginal Australian bandit who faked going into labor just to escape the police, which she did escape from them. It was a great plan. How about the French queen who murdered her rival with poison gloves? I'm Ann Foster, host of the feminist women's history comedy podcast, Vulgar History. Every week I share the saga of a woman from history whose story you probably didn't already know, and you will never forget after you hear it. Sometimes we re-examine well-known people like Cleopatra or Pocahontas, sharing the truth behind their legends. Sometimes we look at the scandalous women you'll never find in a history textbook. Listen to Vulgar History wherever you get podcasts. And if you're curious, the people I was talking about before, the Australian woman is named Marianne Bugg, and the French actress was named Rochelle, no last name, just Rochelle. And the queen who poisoned her rival is Catherine de' Medici. I have episodes about all of them.